Welcome to the Emotional Fingerprint of an Adoptee. I'm Karen Chaston.
And I'm Kim Rankin.
How are we today, Kim?
We're well.
We are well. And what are we going to be sharing today?
We're going to be talking about the chameleon effect.
The chameleon effect. Sounds all very intriguing, doesn't it?
Who do you need me to be?
Yeah, it is a bit like that, isn't it? And for many adoptees, identity was never mirrored back in infancy through shared genetics or emotional reflection. We've delved into the emotional fingerprint of an adoptee, into the four intertwining elements. And because it's not mirrored back, and a lot of the time, you look at the emotional umbilical cord, so that's reflecting out to someone else, not to their environment. The limbic resonance has to adapt and respond to its environment because it just doesn't have that innate limbic resonance. And the primal wound is clearly saying to them, who am I and where do I belong? And the wounded inner child is impacted. And when we think of the chameleon and we think of the fact that it's not mirroring back, we've obviously had a lot of discussions about my childhood and your childhood and our similarities and our same traits and different traits. And one thing that we do share is that we're not very good singers.
No, can't hold a tune.
No, we can't hold a tune. But, in my early 20s or 30s, some spiritual woman said to me, what you're really good at the other side, you don't do here. So we are opera singers on the other side is how I like to look at it. Though what happened to me when I was in first class, we were doing the school's play and we were all up on stage and we were all singing and everything. And one of the teachers said to me, now you have to mind because you're throwing everyone off key. And I just went, yeah, okay. Then on the night after the performance, my mother said to me, you sang, didn't you? And I said, yes, I did. No one is telling me not to sing. And she said, I just knew it because everyone was off key. And what happened to you?
I had a similar experience. So I was in about year 1 or year 2, and we were doing choir practice for a piece that was going to be at the school assembly.
Yeah.
And the teacher asked me to mime, which I did.
And was that devastating for you? Because if I feel that obviously if that had happened to you and I was the mother who was bringing you up, I would have said, right, and I would have suggested you do exactly what I do. In practices, just mine, but on the stage, you sing as loud as you want to because no one is going to dim your light and tell you you can't do something even though you enjoy it. So what? It's a school play.
Well, I took it on, and so I still carry the belief that I can't sing. And if I'm around other people and I want to sing, I probably hum because I'm still embarrassed by the fact that I can't sing.
Do you sing Happy Birthday?
Yes, but
that's good.
Yeah, that's about it.
That's something. That's good. But anyway, we do digress. So this is where I guess is the best way for us to describe the chameleon effect, right? So you're in an environment where you're not being mirrored, you don't understand where your natural innate traits come from because they're not being mirrored to you, you're not seeing other people doing it, and you also have, through the emotional fingerprint of an adoptee, the lack of limbic resonance, the lack of you can feel the pull of the emotional umbilical cord, but you're not sure who's on the other end.
Yeah.
So you're not sure of that. You also have the primal wound and you have the wounded inner child.
Yeah.
So from there, these traits, are they survival traits? Survival behaviours?
I think, the disconnection replaces the intuitive behavior. And so, the innate natural resonance is missing. And so we're not getting it mirrored back to us. So therefore, we're taking on the persona of what others want us to be.
Yeah. And the environment of what they're saying is, this is how you behave, this is who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're being compared to your peers, but also to the relatives and the behaviours of the people who in the environment where you live.
Well, the lack of mirroring is affecting identity.
Yes, that's a perfect way to say it. So, how about we begin, as we have in other episodes? Let's have a look at the 4 core drivers that we've just mentioned of the emotional fingerprint of an adoptee. Would you like to begin looking at the emotional umbilical cord?
Yeah, so like I mentioned with before, that the disconnection replaces intuitive behaviour.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, we become fluent in others' energy and disconnected from our own.
Is it also that you don't trust your own?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, because you're not sure if it's real or if there's
That
someone
attunement
else
is
there.
missing.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the emotional umbilical cord. Okay, so the limbic resonance is lacking the early emotional mirroring, which in turn creates confusion about self-identity. Without consistent resonance from their biological mother or family, the adoptee learns to read others instead of themselves. So they're trusting external instead of internal. Their sense of who I am becomes externally shaped, formed through observation and adaptation, rather than their inner knowing. You don't really trust your inner knowing. Is that right in saying that?
That's right. And, I think that comes from the primal wound as well, and the wounds of early separation and abandonment and rejection. And part of that builds into if I can become who you want me to be, then I won't be left again.
Okay.
And, that belief forms from that early separation.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that I know for myself that I did everything that I could to maintain the love and attention and make myself, in order to ensure that I fitted in. I just morphed into who I thought others wanted me to be.
So is that the wounded inner child that is creating that, or is that part of the primal?
I think it's part of the primal wound, because it's that it's created from that fear of abandonment and rejection. And if I can shape into who you want me to be. But the wounded inner child's all about feeling unseen and
not,
I suppose, invisible.
Okay. Yeah. That's because the wounds of early separation have never been spoken about, validated, seen as something within you, because you've shoved them down. You're like, I can't talk about these because I'm in an environment that if I bring it up, I might be asked to leave, or they might abandon me as well. Is that part of that?
I think so. And then also you learn to belong through the performance of being a good child. For me, like, then if I'm good, then and I adapt to fit in, then I'm going to be accepted. So I'm going to change shape just so that I show up and I'm not too much and not too little. I'm just going to fly under that radar.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So over time, these core drivers weave together, forming a silent blueprint of how the adoptee moves through life. What the adoptee, what became a survival becomes identity. Yeah. So do you start to, the chameleon within you, do you start to feel, this is me? This is just who I am.
Well, I think that, I've learnt to master a room. I've learnt to sit back and watch and observe how everyone else is and become a different person amongst the different groups that I might be in.
So in all your different groups, do you, whether consciously or subconsciously, say, who do I need to be in this group of people or in this room in order to fit in?
Definitely.
So you could be 10 different versions of you in one day if you're in 10 different environments.
Definitely.
Okay.
And hopefully those paths don't cross. I am getting better. I know definitely.
So I can't have a friend in this group in this group because they'll go, who are you today?
Yeah, I did have a little panic when I had my 50th and invited all my girlfriends.
Yeah.
And they're all in the same room. Who am I going to be today?
Okay. So does this constant shape-shifting bring a short-term acceptance, but a long-term disconnection, not only from yourself, but from everyone else?
Yeah, I think that, you know, in some ways it can become exhausting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also not only is it exhausting, it's like, well, who am I in this group and who I am in this group? And would it be, I guess, would it be accurate to say that you learn to master the room, yet you get to lose your authenticity?
Yeah, authenticity is sacrificed.
Yes, which isn't ideal, is it? And as you get older, have you found that you're becoming more of you and this is who I am, accept me or not? Or
I think, well, definitely as I've learned more and understand more about myself. And so the work that I've been doing over the last couple of years, and also, you know, what we've delved into through the 8 essential lessons, that awareness has definitely, I suppose, enabled me to have words and bring words to the feelings and that I had shut down for so long. And so I think as I speak more openly about my experience and the struggles that I've had over the years, I do become, you know, more vulnerable, but I also become a little bit more authentic.
Yeah, which is good. It's obviously ideal for us always to be as authentic as that. But I'm looking at I'm thinking about it from internally. Does that make you feel safe when you are more authentically you?
I don't know. Sometimes.
Yeah. And look, the aim is obviously to always come back to self for everyone, not just adoptees. It's always is. Like we're all born perfectly. And then as we grow through those formation years, we slowly lose a bit of ourselves. You know, our parents, don't act like that, don't be that person, don't do that, all these sort of things. You know, one of the most common fears of the whole world is speaking on stage.
Oh, yes.
And I feel that comes back from parents saying unconsciously and unknowingly to their children, sit down, be quiet, no one wants to hear what you have to say. So as a young child, many people take that on. And therefore, then they grow up and they decide, well, I'm going to be a speaker. I'm going to stand in front of a crowd and I'm sure. And the fear, it just takes them back to that little 2, 3, 5, 8-year-old, whatever they were. And all they can hear in their head is their parents saying, sit down, be quiet. No one wants to hear what you have to say. Unknowingly, they planted that belief.
Yeah, and I think that, you know, that version of myself is still inside me.
Yeah.
To show up here and be on this episode of this podcast is difficult for me every time because I don't like being in the spotlight. I like to hide and just, like I said, just fly under the radar.
Isn't it great that she shows up and that you get to witness the journey? You know, in a couple of years' time, you're going to be like, I'm here, I'm ready. Karen, where are you? Why are you not ready before me? And it's going to be amazing to watch your journey, to be the example for others, that it's when we show up that we truly do become who we are within. So well done. And let's all celebrate Emily.
Well, you know,
Yes.
I think unconsciously the true self wants to be seen
Yes, of
underneath
course.
the chameleon. And like I said, maybe it's middle age. It's also the work that I've done on myself. But and you know, the work that we've done together
Yeah.
that enables me to be, you know, more authentic every day.
Yeah, which is really good. It's those little stepping stones,
Mm.
and they're not easy for anyone. So, if never named as a survival pattern, the chameleon effect, this adaptability is mistaken for charisma, flexibility. The adoptee may thrive socially, but perpetually inside they feel hollow.
Yeah.
Yes, which is really sad, isn't it? So I feel now we have done a little voiceover insert that I'd like to, I think now is the time to bring it in, because we chatter and chatter and chatter, which is really good, and we bring that in, but to bring it in just for everyone to truly feel into what the chameleon effect is all about and how it isn't ideal, and it's important for everyone to see it as a survival behaviour, as opposed to, well, this is who I am and this is what I do. There is a positive side to the chameleon effect, though, and which we've spoken about before in previous episodes, and that is that you learn to read the room, you learn to read people.
Yeah.
And in many parts of your life, that's a great trait to have.
Yeah. Definitely. Like I can read people, but also, you know, mood shifting or the energy around someone. Definitely, I am in tune to the slightest change.
Yes, yes. That little breeze is starting to become a tornado. Now's the time to go.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll be back shortly after we just share this insight. Remembering safety in being you. When an adoptee begins to reconnect with their true self, the journey isn't one of remembering with the mind, it's one of reawakening what the body has always known. They knew who they were when they biologically belonged, were attuned to, and were connected. Because separation at birth is pre-verbal, there's no conscious memory of who they were before it happened. Yet the body remembers through sensations, reflexes, and emotional responses what it once felt like to belong, to be attuned to, and to feel connected, and what it felt like to lose that belonging, attunement, and connection. As they were nurtured differently, they continually morphed, learning, often unconsciously, to become who others needed them to be in order to stay connected. This is where the true self began to hide behind adaptation. Over time, this way of surviving became woven into their very being, carried not as a thought, but as a feeling, which became a belief, and in time, a knowing of, this is who I must be. It's much like someone who has experienced post-traumatic stress. They may not recall every detail of the event, but their body still reacts as though it's happening now. The adoptee's body carries a similar imprint, a deep pre-verbal knowing of loss and disconnection, and a quiet longing to feel safe enough to be themselves again. Those memories don't live in the mind, they live in the body. They often show up as a tightening in the chest or in the solar plexus, that space just below the ribs, in the center of your body, where your sense of calm and confidence lives. The chest holds the ache of love and loss, while the solar plexus symbolizes personal power, autonomy, and self-expression, the very parts of us that can shut down when it once felt unsafe to be fully seen. The nervous system learned long ago that being fully themselves could mean rejection, disapproval, or loss of love. So even now, when they want to be seen, part of them still flinches. It's not that they've forgotten who they are, it's that their body hasn't yet learned that it's safe to relax into who they've always been. What if being you doesn't have to happen all at once? What if it's something rebuilt slowly, moment by moment, by noticing the times you feel most like yourself? That tiny spark of laughter, the moment your breath softens after speaking your truth, the small, quiet spaces where you feel connected, curious, or simply at ease. Each of these moments is the body remembering. Each time authenticity is met with safety, a new imprint forms, a new somatic memory that whispers, it's okay, you can be you, and you're safe here. And over time, those new memories begin to outweigh the old ones, and little by little, you come home to yourself. Welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that reflection that we just shared, because what we've really acknowledged is two intertwined truths. The first one is the true self never disappears. Even though they are being a chameleon, within you, you're always there.
Yeah. So we've adapted.
You've adapted, to your environment.
And morphed.
Yeah, and morphed, but not only to your environment, but also your experiences of early separation, grief, loss. So you've then created these survival patterns so that you can survive.
Yeah.
So that you can survive. But truly underneath, you still remain your true self. And it's through doing that inner work, which is never easy, that your true self can come out. And as you said, you're slowly allowing this amazing person to be seen.
Yeah. But, I think it's the journey of every person, not just adoptees, that at some point we need to start looking inside and peeling back the layers of how of the person that shows up and looking deeply at ourselves, like you said.
Yeah.
But, I think for adoptees, that journey is a little bit more complicated because the adaptation has been born out of, a primal fear, of being left, of being rejected, of being separated again. So I think, it is complex.
Yeah. But when you think about it, the fact that your true self is still there, you really can say, I was never broken. I simply adapted.
Mm.
And now I have permission, if I choose to reclaim myself.
That's right. Yeah.
And it gives you back your power.
Yeah.
And because the choices that were made were not choices that you would have chosen.
Yeah.
So when you go, I didn't lose my true self. I wasn't broken. Life threw me rocks and they damaged me a little bit, but I can heal. I can come back to who I am. And I guess the body and the brain can learn new safety signals.
Yeah.
Just as you can learn how to use your power of reading a room, of understanding people, you can reflect it back and you can go, I can now learn to understand me.
Yeah. I think that, I suppose it shows human resilience.
Yeah,
that
it is.
that that we can adapt and learn to survive, and these survival strategies do come into play to allow us to survive in that environment where so much of it went unsaid and unspoken.
Yeah, but then when you choose you, the true authentic you, you can change survival into thriving.
Yeah.
And we're all here to thrive. One of our number one derivatives when we're born is to survive.
Yeah.
But we are all here to thrive as well.
Yeah.
And it's through taking that inner journey, which, as I always say, we always say, it's not easy, but it's so rewarding because we are all here to thrive.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there anything else you'd like to add about your chameleon? Did your chameleon dress differently depending on the crowd?
Definitely.
So do we have one dancing on tables and one sitting down quietly at a table?
I think that would have happened over here. Yeah.
I hope so. See this scar here? I think that was from falling off a table one time.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. Anyway, Kimberly, I think this is a great episode because a lot of people do not understand that adoptees are doing that. They're hiding their authentic self.
Yeah.
Through a need to, I'm not good enough, which is very sad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you all for being here, especially you for showing up after telling everyone how difficult it can be at times, but we always get here. You always arrive. So thank you for that. And next time we will bring in another survival behaviour that the adoptees take on, just bringing to light all of these things, because once they're in the light, they sort of dissipate from their darkness, don't they?
That's right. So if you've resonated with anything that we've shared today, hopefully a lot of it, please like, share and follow.
Thank you, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.
Bye.